Hello there and welcome back to some more Gran Turismo 2 and some more Project A-Spec. Today I'm going to be previewing the update 1.2.1. Now on the face of it, that just sounds like some bug fixes for the massive 1.2 update that released a couple of months ago. However, 1.2.1 is shaping up to be a pretty major update in its own right. We have 8 new cars to take a look at, and of course there is the bug fixes, which is what you'd expect, and just general improvements as well. Like I say, it is a big update, and I want to give a big thank you to Komputer and the Project A-Spec team for hooking me up with the preview build. As always, if you'd like updates on where this update is, that is going to be in their Discord server, and they also have a YouTube channel now, so I'll link that down below in the description. It is worth pointing out, although it will not stop the comments, this update is not yet released. This is an early preview, a very early preview actually, as we'll get onto in a second. So there is no timescale on currently when this will be releasing, but here is the preview of it. And we begin with the Ferrari F50. Just casually dropping the F50 in 1.2.1. This is, of course, one of Ferrari's legendary supercars, the big sort of marquee supercar of the 1990s, the successor to the F40, which sort of started as a simple question. Can you make an F1 car into a road car? And the answer is not really, but kind of. And that's what the F50 is. Underneath the middle section of this car, the clamshell, is a Ferrari V12 engine, which is derived from the 1990 F1 car, the car that Alain Prost almost won a championship with. It is bored out and obviously sort of modified to meet the demands of a road car, as opposed to a race car that can be serviced on demand. But either way, the F50 is still awesome. The F50 is my favourite of all of Ferrari's marquee supercars. I really like the F40, don't get me wrong, but the F50 for me, this is the one. I don't even think it's conventionally pretty, but it just looks like it means business. It is an incredible looking bit of kit, and they've modelled it absolutely fantastically as well here in Gran Turismo 2. 511 horsepower, 1,230 kilograms. It will be interesting to see which one of these is quicker between the F40 and the F50, although my heart will always go towards the F50 as opposed to the F40, but I love both of them. But for me, the F50 takes the cake. It looks absolutely incredible, and I imagine this is going to be a firm fan favourite from this update. If you like things a little bit more low, there is the 1964 Chevrolet Impala SS. This is, of course, a fairly recognisable car in pop culture. If you've listened to any West Coast rap at all, you'll know they love a 6.4 Impala. And yeah, it looks incredible in game again. The camera does have a hard time with this one because it is a big boat of a vehicle. Obviously, does fit in quite well with the other muscle cars, it does have to be said. It's quite a lot of fun driving this around in the Muscle Car Cup, but absolutely iconic shape. And of course, once you stick racing suspension on this, you can get the full lowrider effect. 398 horsepower, 1,692 kilos. I'm quite pleased they've gone with the bigger engine on this because, again, it allows it to sort of keep up with the existing muscle cars. A very cool car, and I imagine one that's going to get a little bit of a cult following in this update. It also comes in a ridiculous amount of colours. This is a prize car, so you are going to have to play prize car roulette a little bit in terms of getting the colour that you want, but it is well worth it. Personally, my favourite is this Azure Aqua, which I think looks absolutely awesome on this car. Next up, if you like your cars a little bit smaller, you may be interested in the 1990 Subaru Rex Supercharger VX. This is a very interesting car because this one is technically content that Project A-Spec has gone ahead and re-added. In the files of Gran Turismo 2 exists the logo for this car, the Rex Supercharger VX. In fact, I'm almost certain that's the logo they're using for this car now in Project A-Spec. There's no model left of it, but this is a car that was intended to be added. And now the A-Spec guys have fully modeled it and implemented it into the game. This is one of those models which really could be used for like Gran Turismo 3. I think it looks absolutely incredible. I love the detail on this, from the little sticker on the side with the supercharger, the wheels, the actual just overall body design of it. It is a very cool looking car, and it's very cool to have it added in to Project A-Spec. This is also a car that you can start the game with, which is very cool, giving you another option in terms of a key car. And in terms of statistics, 63 horsepower, 650 kilos, front-wheel drive. Might not expect that from Subaru, but it is. I believe the Rex is the precursor to the Vivio. I could be wrong on that, but I'm fairly certain it went Rex and then into the Vivio series. So maybe that's the reason it got cut, because they thought the Vivio just sort of fit better because it was a newer vehicle. But either way, it is very cool to see the Rex in-game, and yeah, very fun vehicle, especially when you upgrade it. But what if you think 63 horsepower is too much for my first car in this game? What if I want to go slower? Well, there's always the Datsun 100A Cherry Deluxe. This is, at least in my eyes, the Satsuma from my summer car is essentially what I know this as. Although to just boil it down to that would be wildly underestimating the Datsun Cherry. This was one of the very first Japanese cars to come over into Europe, and this car essentially changed the game and cars like this because they were small, they were fuel efficient, and most importantly of all, they were reliable, which cannot be said at all for any European car in this time period. And so that's why the Japanese ended up ruling the world for quite a long time, and in some ways they still do, with little cars like this. In terms of statistics, it's obviously not all that impressive. 44 horsepower, 705 kilos. It is front-wheel drive, which is quite surprising, actually. And yeah, this is another one you can have as your first car. I would probably suggest this needs to be very cheap in order for you to put some upgrades onto it to make it actually move, because in its base form it won't be winning anything, but we'll give it a go later on. We'll see how quick this thing really is. But no, it is a very cool looking car, very left field choice, which I always like about the additions that Project A-Spec makes, is that you can never really expect what they're going to add, and I certainly did not expect the Datsun 100A Cherry. Now, in terms of sort of another big change with this update, they're also adding the final cars that they needed for the full roster of the 1999 Formula 1 season. So we have the British American Racing 01, the Williams FW21, the Sauber C18, and the Arrows A20 coming in this update. Now, currently as I speak, because this is a preview build, the models of the Williams, Sauber, and Arrows are not finished yet. However, the BAR is, and brace yourself because this is a beautiful model. I dread to think how hard they had to work to get this car implemented into the game, knowing the challenges of Gran Turismo 2 texturing as I do now. This would have been an absolute nightmare to get implemented into the game, but it was well worth it because it looks phenomenal. The British American Racing 01, the BAR 01, was the very first F1 car by, well, British American Racing, who were owned by British American Tobacco. It was essentially the idea of being a super team, so much so that the team boss at the time hyped it up and said, on our very first weekend, we want to be pole position and we want to win the race. And in 1999, the BAR was very successful at breaking down. And so as a result, they finished the season pointless. Completely pointless. They were the worst team in 1999. They were beaten even by Arrows, I believe, which is saying something. However, they did have a spectacular livery. If you don't know how this livery came about, the idea was they were going to run two cars with two separate liveries. They were going to run the 555 on one of the cars, and they were going to run Lucky Strike on Villeneuve's car, I believe. So 555 for Zonta and Lucky Strike for Villeneuve. However, the FIA said you can't do that, And so as a result, BAR just went, well, we'll just smash both liveries together. And that's what you ended up here with the zipper livery. Very iconic. Depending on who you ask, this is either one of the best liveries of all time or one of the worst. Personally, I love it. I would have loved it more if it was the individual cars, because truly I think both of these designs on its own could have been some of the best looking F1 cars of all time. Obviously the 555 looks exquisite, but also this Lucky Strike livery. I think it's easily the best implementation of Lucky Strike, who would have gone on to be the title sponsor of the later BARs, and also I think even into the first year of Honda's ownership of the team. Lucky Strike would be used as well. So, yeah, absolutely exquisite looking car. Of course, in Gran Turismo 2, this will perform better than the real car did, because this car was actually quite quick when it didn't explode, which it did a lot. Which is more than can be said for the likes of the Arrows, which I've driven, and they are terrible. Alright, let's go ahead and get some races going, and let's of course have a look at the Ferrari F50. Actually, before we do that, I'll quickly showcase how to get some of these cars. So the F50 is available in the Ferrari special dealer. There is 5 colours to choose from. There's the Rosso Corsa, the yellow Rosso Barchetta, which is a very nice colour, Argento and Nürburgring, which is a very cool looking colour. I never thought silver would work on the F50, but it actually does work really, really well. I think that might actually be my favourite colour. I would have used it for this video, but of course everyone wants to see the F50 in red. And then there is, of course, the classic Nero. 760,000 credits, so it ain't cheap. The F40 is significantly cheaper, but again, the F50 is significantly cooler, in my opinion. And then the Subaru is available as a first car. The first one that shows up in the Subaru dealership. 5,400 of your credits will buy the Rex, which is a pretty decent deal, considering the car that you get. And also, if we go to Nissan, we can pick up the Datsun Cherry for just 2,988 credits. So that does give you more than enough potential to stick a turbo kit on this and make it not completely hopeless. Alright, F50 time, let's do it. Let's have a look at the mid-engine challenge, I think. This should be a pretty good test of the F50. Sounds quite cool, actually. Of course, doesn't rev quite as high as the real-life Ferrari F1 car did. That was one of the things they had to do to get the F50 to actually be a road car, was to reduce the screaming V12's rev limit. I think the V12 rev to like 12 or 13,000 RPM or something, whereas this one would rev to 9. But even still, a very, very cool car. Again, another model that does look very nice, especially here on Red Rock Valley, actually. It does look very cool. Got to try and get used to driving in Gran Turismo 2 again. It actually does drive very nice, this. A little bit sort of slidey on the rear end, as you would expect. I think this is probably a more consistent handling car than the F40. The F40 is, you know, you've got all that sort of turbo lag to deal with, as well as this is a nice, naturally aspirated car that will just sing its heart out to the red line, which is very cool. But no, it is awesome seeing the F50 here in GT2. I was actually quite surprised they went with the F40 over the F50 as the first sort of car, the first marquee Ferrari supercar they added, along with, of course, the F355, which is another car that I firmly stan. But yeah, it is cool to see it now. And again, just such a cool update to drop this into as well. 1.2.1 and just drop the F50 in there, which probably tells you a lot about what Project A-Spec has cooking over the coming, well, years. Because obviously I previewed this mod all the way back in September of 2023, and 18 months later, well, 19 months, but 18 months, we're driving around in an F50, and they've added, I think we're looking at like 150 cars at the moment. So yeah, definitely adding a lot of content to the game. which is great to see, because Gran Turismo 2 is my favourite game of all time, and yeah, that's why my YouTube channel is basically dedicated to Gran Turismo 2 at this point. Subscribe for more, I guess. But no, the F50, very, very cool. Obviously, a lot more supercars are coming with this one. This is a great car for the Supercar Festival as well, although, of course, I've done a video showcasing the Supercar Festival in full with the Lamborghini Cala and a bunch of other cars as well. So there we go. That was the Ed 50 at Red Rock again. Red Rock really helps that red to pop on the F50, which is very, very cool. Alright, well, let's go ahead and take a bit of a slower vehicle for a spin now. We'll do the Rex. We'll do the Rex, and then I'll showcase all of them, obviously, apart from the free F1 cars that haven't got models. We'll do Seattle, which probably isn't that good for the Rex in terms of its performance abilities, which aren't great, but yeah, we'll see how it gets on. This is actually a pretty heavy grid as well, as far as key cars goes. But no, the Rex does look very, very cool. I love the badging on the back of this as well. They've done a really excellent job of modelling this one. In fact, I think Nathan modelled this one, so shout out to Nathan, who's also working on a project with me as well at the moment, so keep your eyes open for that one. But no, the Rex does look very cool. I actually think being front-wheel drive gives a lot of these key cars an advantage, because in the base game, you know, four-wheel drive, the extra weight of a four-wheel drive system isn't really offset in a key car, because, well, they all make 63 horsepower basically. So in something like the Rex, it allows it to be a little bit more sort of planted on the front end, and also you don't have any of that weight penalty. I'm going side by side with a Suzuki Alto Works, which is a sort of comparable car to this. That Honda Life, for some reason, is the one that's stretching its way into the lead. But this is a very cool handling car. I quite like the way this one sounds as well. I think you can hear a little bit of supercharger in it, which is cool. And again, like I say, out of all of them, I think, well, the BAR is obviously like the marquee car in terms of how it looks, but I think the Rex is really up there as well. It is a awesome looking car, the Subaru 660 Rex, as we can see on the background there. It's also so damn happy all the time, which is, you know, something to like about it. That cappuccino getting straight into the lead there. Yeah, I think we might be a little bit outclassed on here. Obviously, buying this for 5,000 credits, though, does give you a little bit of room for upgrades, so that could definitely be on the cards for this car as well, if you so wish. So that would probably be my suggestion to you, is spend some of that money on upgrades. Got a little bit sideways through there, so I didn't get quite the line that I wanted to. Seattle is not one of my favourite courses, I do have to admit, so it would be nice here to score a podium. It would be nice to still score the win, if we can get up the inside of the beat, use it as a bit of a use it as a bit of a corner aid. Oh no, the life's coming. I suppose life comes at you in mysterious ways. Come on, there we go. I was not expecting to win that. I was not expecting a Honda Life to be my biggest competition during that either, but there we go. Yeah, maybe you can win in the Rex then, if you get creative with your racing strategies. I think the next car we take a look at, though, you are not going to be able to win in, no matter what you do. So let's go ahead and take a look at the old Datsun 100A Cherry. To be perfectly clear, we might not even finish the race in this, because this is going to be painful. But we will load up Tahiti Road and get ourselves into the Cherry, which at the very least is the coolest looking car here in terms of this grid lineup anyway. Another one that looks very, very cool, and again, I love the, I'm not sure if this is the Satsuma from My Summer Car. I'm fairly certain it's based off an old Datsun, so yeah, it does look very mighty. Shout out to the 100A badge as well on the back of it. But actually, I mean, to be fair, I mean, we haven't hit 60 yet. We have not hit 60 yet at all. I'm looking for 100 kilometers an hour because, of course, we're playing with the PAL. There we go, 41 seconds to 62 miles an hour. Yeah, not the quickest thing in the world. It does have to be said. However, it is charming. And I suppose, you know, at 44 horsepower, it probably doesn't handle all that bad as well. I'm very pleased this is front-wheel drive compared to rear-wheel drive. We definitely do not have a fifth gear, which is to be expected. I'm actually keeping up with these a lot better than I was expecting. I'm being trounced by Honda logos now, because obviously in a straight line, yeah, I don't even know if this can actually reach 100 miles an hour, to be clear. But, yeah, I mean, it's an experience, if nothing else. This would actually probably make a fairly decent sort of car when you fully upgrade it. I think you could stick a turbo into this. I don't think it makes a ridiculous amount of power. It's pretty sort of subdued in terms of the power rating, but, you know, if you want a bit of a challenge, you know, because it's all too easy to start Gran Turismo 2 with the generic rear-wheel drive Skyline or Celica GTR or Skyline GTS4 or twin-turbo Supra or whatever it may be. You know, why not start your playthrough with a Datsun Cherry and get as far as you can. I would also put money on this being a better starter car than the Suzuki Carry, because that thing is terrible, as we found out, actually, numerous times. During my original 1.2 live stream, we found out that the Carry was a pretty appalling vehicle. It does have to be said. It is singing its heart out, this little Datsun Cherry, but I feel like we won't get a podium. I was about to say if we get a podium, but I get eaten alive down the straights in this thing. It is quite fun though, in a way, to sort of battle among these cars and really just use your momentum and the other people to try and sort of barge your way around each corner. That is not a good line through there. That, whatever it is. Is it another logo in the back there? It is another logo. The logos are trying to gang up on me and conspire against me. And then as we go up the hill, that Daihatsu mirror is just ridiculous. And so, yeah. I mean, if we don't finish dead last, I'll take that. They've taken a bit of a wide line through there, but they don't break, so there's no chance of swinging the momentum there. We're going to get a Subaru Vivio to push us over the line, I think. Even the black logo's coming now. Yeah, slow is the nicest way to describe this, but again, quite a lot of fun. You know, take it down to the tune shop and I'm sure you'll have yourself a fairly decent race car in no time. And by fairly decent, I mean maybe be able to win the first race of the Sunday Cup. Although, yeah, again, mileage may vary on that. Does this have a turbocharger? It does not. It is natural aspiration. Okay, maybe not. Maybe you're screwed if you choose that as your first car. I don't know. Alright. We will do the Impala, and then we'll do the BAR, because there's quite a bit to discuss, actually, when it comes to the BAR. We'll do Laguna Seca, because why not? Because we've already seen Seattle today, so we'll do the other race in the Muscle Car Cup. It does fit very well when you sort of get a grid full of land yachts, the likes of the Plymouth GTX and the Muscle Car and the Challenger and the Cuda. It does sort of seem to fit quite well amongst them. Got that classic sort of muscle car snarl as well. No problems getting this to 62 miles an hour. It definitely has to be said, unlike the Datsun. That is a very brown Plymouth GTX there, which is interesting. I did this race for the fun though. I managed to beat a Stingray Corvette, which I think is probably your toughest opponent in this. So should be able to get the best of the Camaro and the Challenger. In case you're wondering, this is a prize car for the second race here at the Muscle Car Cup, so that's where you get it from. So if you don't get the colour that you want, it's not a sort of difficult race to do over and over again. These pay pretty well as well, and obviously because they're muscle cars and because Gran Turismo 2 has no real opponent limit or anything like that, you can cheese your way around the Muscle Car Cup fairly well, as long as you have a fairly decent handling starter car. You know, maybe that would be a video idea, trying to beat the Muscle Car Cup in a Datsun Cherry. Maybe that's the play for the next video on this update. I don't know. I'm sure more people would be far more interested in the F50 or the BAR, but there you go. I always like to try and cover the weirdest stuff in this update, because I appreciate the weirder things in life. We have a bit of a GM battle here, Chevrolet battle between the Camaro. It's not an SS in this game, is it? It's a Z28. I should, or is it an SS? They're both. No, it's a Z28. Is it GT4? They have the SS and the Z28. I don't know. All those years of being a Forza player has conditioned me to think every Camaro is an SS. Well, it's actually the Z28. I think the Z28 is actually sort of the handling package, whereas the SS was just the fast one. I could be wrong with that. I built a Lego model of the Z28 not long ago, actually. I'm not a huge fan of the first gen Camaro, I do have to admit. I don't really like Camaros in general. Although, I don't know. It's like, I mean, it's cool looking, obviously it's a Camaro, but you know, I would much rather have a Mustang, because the Mustang is the original, and for all intents and purposes it's always been statistically superior, for the most part. I'm sure that's going to incite a riot, but we'll see. Mind you, actually no, tell a lie, I was going to say Hot Lap Classic, the Mustangs are slower than the Camaros, but actually that particular Camaro, the GT350, which is kind of a Mustang, managed to absolutely clean that car's clock, so yeah, I think it beat it by over a second. There we go, we won pretty handedly there, mostly because we can deal with the corkscrew and the opponents cannot. Then the GTX evidently got stuck somewhere. But no, the Impala, I think actually the weight of the Impala probably makes it a little bit nicer to drive, keeps the rear end in check a little bit more. That is a car that, when fully upgraded, can make some very serious horsepower. I think it can get over 550 horsepower when fully upgraded, so yeah, interesting one. Alright, our final car today, the BAR 001. I keep calling it 001, it's the 01. There is no 00 in there. We will do Special Stage Route 5, why not? We'll have a nighttime race, because the Saudi Arabian GP was yesterday, as I record this. So first thing you'll notice, new engine noise for the F1 cars, which is very cool. And the second thing you're about to notice, oh cool, the little light lights up. I didn't realise they added that, that's very cool. The other thing you'll quickly realise is I can take corners far better off than I could in the original F1 cars, and that's because these cars have had a handling update. So I think the AI is now better at using these vehicles. They are far more controllable, they are much more stable at the rear now. I mean, that's full throttle around that corner and it just sticks. This is on the standard tyres as well, no super softs there. Obviously you can still spin it out if you're a complete moron like I am, but no. Actually, these have been significantly improved from where they were. Personally, I quite like the way they used to handle. There used to be a bit more challenge to them. They weren't sort of out and out the greatest cars in the game, whereas now they are hugely sticky, so they absolutely will be the dominant force in this game now, I suspect. But yeah, still very, very nice driving, and I'm not just saying that because the BAR is nice. The rest of them have also been updated. I've driven all of the F1 cars, including the ones that you haven't seen yet. Those 3 others in the garage, and they've all had the update. What is cool as well is you can definitely tell the difference between all of them. The Arrows drives like a dog. So the Arrows and the Minardi are definitely the sort of second class, if you will, for the F1 cars, and then the rest of them are all pretty sort of vaguely sort of close to each other. Obviously the Ferrari and the McLaren are probably the best too, but I really like the BAR. I think out of all of them, this is my favourite of the F1 cars, just because I can appreciate the ridiculous amount of time that's gone into creating the livery for this one. So once again, an absolutely phenomenal job on this vehicle, the good old Zipper BAR 01. Not a successful car in real life, but definitely a successful car in this game. Like I say, it just handles like ridiculously. This is one of those that hot lap now with these F1 cars is going to be wild. I should still say though, these you know, while they're definitely better handling than they used to be, and they're definitely the top tier of car now, I still think, you know, they're still relatively challenging. They're not ridiculously sort of grippy. And you can definitely still make mistakes in them. Interesting if you put the handbrake on there. Oh, little noise it makes. But no, I mean, I'm playing in 60 FPS as well. I should sort of point that out. In fact, this video might be 60 FPS. Well, yeah, it is 60 actually, because this is the NTSC build. So that does sort of help the physics calculate properly, as opposed to on 30 FPS. So this is probably a little bit more challenging in 30 FPS, but yeah, I drove a test build of an F1 car. If you want to feel like what an F1 car is when they're like done to an extreme, well, I'll let you know this. The Motorsports Land Track, I took the final corner, not corner cutting or anything like that, flat out in third, which was about 170 kilometers an hour. So, fortunately, they aren't that level of ridiculous. So, yeah. And obviously, there's still limitations in terms of these are still very sensitive over the grass and etc. etc. But, yeah. They are definitely improved from where they are. I think they handle more like you'd expect an F1 car to be. Again, I quite like the challenge of the older F1 cars, but I definitely do appreciate some people did not, and I think this is a nice balance between both mindsets. Because again, there's still, you know, you can't just go flat out around every corner. You still have to use your brakes and prepare yourself a little bit, but these, I think they also stop a lot better than they used to as well. Like the brakes in these are ridiculous now as well. So yeah, sort of just a general grip update and an update to the brakes as well. And again, I think there's an engine sound update in this as well. So very, very cool. And again, this BAR though, doesn't it look good? Doesn't it look phenomenal, actually? Like I say, I'm really impressed with the way this came out. I thought there was going to have to be some sacrifices in terms of getting the livery right. Honestly, if it was me, I would have just modelled the two separate liveries and then had you do a race mod to figure out which one you wanted, but no, not in this case. Like I say, it looks absolutely incredible when you see it in game. So yeah, awesome stuff. I can't wait to see the last 3 F1 cars as well, especially the arrows. The arrows might be worth a rerun of my can you beat the F1 championship in a Minardi and do it in an arrows, because the arrows is significantly worse. So that's it. I will quickly show off a few sort of things I've noticed that have changed. The Plymouth Fury has now been turned fully into the Golden Commando, which is something they had hinted towards in 1.2. I don't think they changed all the text around and stuff, but obviously now a new logo and a new trim for the Fury, which does look very, very cool indeed. The Renault Twingo has had a bit of an update to its model. I think this is the 3rd update this car's had. And now, to be honest with you, it does look much better than it had done prior. They've even done the sort of odd reverse light like we get in Europe, or used to get in Europe, because we are mandated to have rear fog lights. So, very cool looking. Of course, Twingo, probably everyone's favourite car from this mod. And finally, the Isuzu Bellet had some weirdness with the sort of year it was manufactured and stuff like that, but that's all been sorted now. I think the Piazza as well had some typos in its colours, and it doesn't anymore. But that is a small peek of what's in this update. Again, there's probably countless more bugs and small little fixes that have occurred in this. And again, just to reiterate, there is no release date for this update currently, but it is coming along very nicely. And as always, if you wish to keep up to date on A-Spec, you can follow them on Twitter or X, depending on which way you want to go. You can follow the new A-Spec YouTube channel, which I'll link down below, and also, of course, the A-Spec Discord server. So join all that. Download 1.2 as it is as well, because that was a fantastic update in and of itself. And yeah, again, once again, thank you very much to the A-Spec team for letting me preview this once again. And who knows, there may be more videos on this update in the future. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, farewell.